Podcast City Network.
This is Final Score, your number one podcast for sports news. Here are your hosts, Chris and Kevin.
Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Final Score, episode 72. Getting a little bit of a late start today. Again, having some technical difficulties and was unable to pull Kevin in for this broadcast, but a little bit of a surprise coming later too from him as he will be going live, but from where and for what reason, I will have to let him reveal when he does go live on the Final Score Facebook page. So definitely make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that as he'll go live on Facebook Live. Which also means, though, sadly, we won't have the rugby review with me today as we do episode 72. But, Kevin's a busy guy, so we'll let him do it the way he wants to do it because I'm not going to mess with a badass like him. So make sure to follow all things Final Score, though, at PCN Final Score on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. All you have to do is search at PCN Final Score, and go give us a like, give us a follow, share us, invite your friends, leave us some comments, and more importantly than anything, leave us a rating. Let us know how we're doing because we always try to bring the very best that we can to you, the fans. So definitely let us know how we're doing and where we could improve so we can try and improve the show. But a lot of great stuff going on today, and like I said, we're not going to talk about the rugby review, but we are going to jump right into Thursday night football because it was a doozy. Finally seeing football return. Absolutely amazing. Ended up having a nice little shootout by the Chiefs, just keeping it rolling from last season as they ended up winning this one against the Texans 34-20. And I tell you, Patrick Mahomes still looks just amazing. Didn't really run much or do anything like that, but passing on point, was able to complete touchdowns to 3 different receivers and just looked really great out there all the way around. And the defense looking great too, coming up with 4 sacks and an interception. And Sammy Watkins getting out there, who has heard that name actually be a leading receiver, 7 receptions, 82 yards, and a touchdown. But I think the big talk, and this is what people I think are really excited for right now in Kansas City, is seeing Clyde Edwards-Helaire go out there, 25 carries, 138 yards and a touchdown, turning out a really nice debut. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Chiefs keep this one rolling, if they can keep that offense just humming the way it is. But on the other side for the Texans, not as beautiful as a day. David Johnson only had 77 yards and a touchdown. Not too bad in his debut. Will Fuller, though, 8 receptions, 112 yards. But Deshaun Watson, after signing that big old fat contract with the Texans, becoming one of the top paid quarterbacks in the league, goes 20-32, 253 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but did have 6 carries for 27 yards and a touchdown to try and make it a little bit better, but still losing by 14 to our defending Super Bowl champions. So definitely going to be interesting to see how it works out for them. I know there's a lot of different distractions and things going on with it being the opening day game and the NFL's commitment to fight social injustice, and many people booing, J.J. Watt being very vocal, saying he just didn't understand it. Don't understand why people would do that during that type of moment. So we'll see how it carries on through the season. Kansas City, one of only 6 sites right now in the NFL that are allowing fans. It was definitely very strange watching other action this weekend, especially in college football, seeing empty stadiums, just tarped off with big advertisements in some cases if you were watching the Clemson-Wake Forest game. But just really strange, but still hearing the piped-in audio in a lot of cases. Kind of unsettling to me in college football, but it is what it is. But I have a feeling it'll probably feel a lot the same with NFL. But I guess we'll find out a little bit later today. A lot of the games kicking off at 1 o'clock, so definitely make sure to check that out. We'll have a little bit of a preview here today to try and throw out there. Excuse me. So definitely make sure to stay tuned for that. But we definitely have to take a moment right now to give a shout out to the Jacksonville Saints Australian Football Club. We just want to take this moment to give them a shout out for being a great sponsor of Final Score. You need to make sure to check out the Saints on Facebook at facebook.com/JacksSaintsUSAFL for the latest news, practice times, and game info. And don't forget to hit the like and follow button while you're there. And you can also contact them directly, by emailing the team at JacksonvilleSaintsUSAFL@gmail.com for more information. Definitely really great to have them on board. And just as much as we like having the Jacksonville Rugby Football Club, as well as the Jacksonville Wolverines Youth Rugby, also great sponsors of the show, and love having them. And we want to take the time to thank both of them for being a sponsor of Final Score as well. The Jacksonville Rugby Football Club is a Division II team and a member of the Florida Rugby Union. And you can find the Jacksonville Rugby Football Club on Facebook at facebook.com/JacksRFC or on their website at jacksrugby.org. You can also find the Jacksonville Wolverines Youth Rugby team on Facebook at facebook.com/Jacksonville Youth Rugby. So definitely make sure to go check them out. Give them a like, give them a follow, and check out everything that they have going on. And they have a lot of plans coming up, especially with everything that's going on with rugby and how it's starting to blow up a little bit, which I'm sure Kevin will talk more about that just a little bit later. But now we're going to move on and talk a little bit about some of our NFL Week 1 action that we're going to have today, starting at 1 o'clock. A lot of big slated games, a lot of question marks, a lot of change right now in the league, especially personnel-wise, to see how everybody's going to mesh together, how these teams are actually going to perform. And we'll give a little bit of a preview. And if you have any comments, please go ahead, throw them into the chat. The chat is rolling on Facebook Live. So definitely let us know what you think. Tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me I'm completely wrong. And be like, Chris, what are you talking about? It's okay. Everybody has an opinion, just like everybody has. Oh, anyways. So let's go ahead and keep it rolling. Going to be exciting and a lot of different games to cover, starting off with the Seahawks visiting the Atlanta Falcons. Seahawks favored by 1.5. But with this, the Seahawks have this retooled defense trying to reinvent the Legion of Boom, being able to bring in a lot of different talent. So it's going to be very, very interesting, especially after making their trade with the Jets, as many remember. So we're also looking at the Falcons, who are trying to get back on track, trying to get back to that Super Bowl form that they had when they made that great run and lost Super Bowl 51. And then, of course, Todd Gurley debuting for the Falcons, also a big storyline for this week. So definitely see how this one works out. Personally, though, I still think the Seahawks defensively are going to be too much for this Falcon offense, and I think the Seahawks will win this game and cover. Our next game, though, we have the Jets visiting the Buffalo Bills, which is going to be really big for the Bills with the debut of Stephon Diggs after that big trade from Minnesota. He'll be making his debut today with Josh Allen throwing the ball to him, and I think this is going to be a really great matchup. The Bills looking to take a step forward after Tom Brady leaves the division. The Jets still a hot mess all the way around, but still do have talent with Le'Veon Bell and some others out there. So we'll see if they can actually bounce back and get some cohesion with this team. Bills are favored by 6.5. I think the Bills do win, but I don't know if they'll actually cover. The Jets defense is still pretty tough. But we have next the Bears, the good old Chicago Bears, visiting the Detroit Lions. Lions are favored by 3. And let's not forget that Adrian Peterson has recently signed with the Detroit Lions, bolstering that backfield with Kerryon Johnson. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what kind of pitch count he has put on to start with this game against the Bears in a very, very physical defense with Khalil Mack and others. So the big storyline, though, for the Bears is Trubisky being named the starter at quarterback over Nick Foles, who, if you remember, the Bears made a huge trade for and took on that massive contract of Nick Foles, and now they're paying him to be a backup. Maybe the Bears think they can treat it like the Philadelphia Eagles did and might be able to capture lightning in a bottle or something. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it'll happen. I think, honestly, though, with this game and with how bad the Bears are, though, I think the Lions still can pull it out as long as they stay healthy. I think the Lions win this, and I think they can cover. Next, we have Packers visiting the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are favored by 2.5 in this matchup. And the big storyline going into this game, especially for the Vikings, was the fact that we had Dalvin Cook sign his extension, a 5-year, $60-some-odd million contract. You got paid finally. Now go play football. Come on. Let's just get the deals done and move on. But right now, the Packers are just trying to get back in the hunt, still carrying the torch is Aaron Rodgers for this team, and a lot of change, especially at the wide receiver position. So we'll see how he meshes with his receivers and see if they are able to go against this vaunted Vikings defense. However, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Vikings do win and they cover. Next, we have a very interesting game from both perspectives of these teams at the quarterback position. The Miami Dolphins visiting the New England Patriots. New England Patriots favored by 7. But with the Patriots, you have Cam Newton now coming in to be the starter of this team after Tom Brady departed after an illustrious career there. And we'll see if he's able to mesh well. Bill Belichick's been talking very highly of him in their practices and camp so far. So we'll see how everything will unfold, because not a lot of weapons really outside of Edelman, I feel like, in New England. Go ahead, New England fans, and tell me how dumb I am for telling me or for saying that. Because guess what? I don't know anything about football. I don't just watch it, have played it, coached it, all the little ins and outs, but whatever. But on the flip side, you still have Miami trying to figure out their quarterback situation. Tua Tagovailoa coming in, but Ryan Fitzpatrick named the starter, a very big head scratcher there, as many expected Tua to be able to come in and take that position and have the veteran back up the rookie and help mold him and grow him the way he needs to be for an NFL quarterback. However, we get Ryan Fitzpatrick, who will make the start. If Ryan doesn't play well, though, I do see Tua possibly making a little bit of a debut in this game maybe, but we'll see how it plays out. Patriots and Dolphins both trying to find themselves at this point. Patriots are favored by 7. I don't know if Patriots will cover, but I think Patriots will win, because I think Cam Newton will surprise a lot of people with the abilities he has, especially in that Patriots offense. Bill Belichick's very good at molding offenses around quarterbacks, so we'll see how it works out. But another game that I hold near and dear to my heart is none other than the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to the Washington football team. Yes, you heard me right. It is not the Redskins anymore after they have dropped their name and signage, which, if you remember us covering that a few weeks ago on Final Score. Washington right now is trying to find themselves, saying they're going to stick with their color scheme, but are trying to find a new logo, a new identity to better represent their franchise. However, with all those kinds of distractions, especially with the ownership and the name changes, I think it'd be too much for Washington to really be any kind of a threat to really any team this year. I think they're going to have a really down year, especially with them naming Drew Haskins at quarterback. They do have Alex Smith, though. Alex Smith, though, I don't think will really play much, if at all. But it's really good to see, after the horrific injury he had, to see him make the roster and not have to worry too much about it's just, sorry, I get choked up thinking about this, because it's a really hard subject after seeing the injury that he suffered and being able to see the journey back and everything he went through, almost losing his leg, almost losing his life. Just absolutely amazing story, but battled all the way back, is now in healthy form, has been at camp, been at training camp, been at practice, and has made the roster for the Washington football team. So hats off to you, sir, for really showing what perseverance means and being able to battle through no matter what, showing sheer force of will. So really great to see. But back to the game. We don't expect Alex Smith really to play, though. He's still trying to come back from a horrific injury. So the keys have been handed to Dwayne Haskins and Ron Rivera's offense, and we'll see how it works out. It showed a lot of inconsistency last year. I feel the Eagles defense will be able to keep them mostly grounded. The Eagles are favored by 5.5. I think they will win this game and cover, but it really comes down to the fact that Wentz needs to stay healthy no matter what, not even just for this game, but for this year, as does other players, because they've already had losses now along the offensive line. Miles Sanders was expected to be out. I think he was upgraded to questionable, but it's the Eagles got to stay healthy if they want to do something. So our next game, though, we lost the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to the Carolina Panthers there at Bank of America Stadium. Raiders are favored by 3, but this will be the debut of Teddy Bridgewater taking over the Panthers quarterback position after the departure of Cam Newton. And I think Bridgewater has a lot of talent. We saw a lot of what he can do stepping in for Drew Brees in New Orleans, and, of course, everything he did in Minnesota before his horrific injury. I think Bridgewater could be a very nice spark plug for this team and this offense, especially with Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. I see a lot of RPO action coming out of this. I see a lot of counters. I see a lot of quarterback options. This could get very interesting with a dual-headed monster of Christian McCaffrey and Teddy Bridgewater. Because to be honest, Panthers don't have a whole lot when it comes to the receiving core, and I don't think the receivers are going to be able to match up with too many of these corners. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic to this offense, and we'll see how it's played out. But the Raiders, though, I still think are the more talented team. John Gruden at the helm with Derek Carr still under center, and they still do have a number of dangerous options, including their backfield. So I think the Raiders will be able to come through and take this one. Don't know if they'll cover, though. I think it could be really close, and the Panthers might surprise some people, but we'll see how it works out. But officially, I'm going to take Raiders by 1. So next game, we have the Indianapolis Colts traveling on down to wet Florida right now because it is raining all over the place. To Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Colts are favored by 7.5. The Colts will have Phillip Rivers debuting at quarterback. The Colts have been trying to find a workable quarterback since the departure of Andrew Luck with his sudden retirement. But Phillip Rivers now trying to come in with his 10 kids, all playing all the positions on offense and trying to win some. Oh, sorry, that's not what's happening? No? Oh, they actually have players. Okay. So, yeah, they got players apparently, T.Y. Hilton, Marlon Mack, guys like that. But I still think the Colts offense will find a lot of success with Phillip Rivers. Definitely a much better passer than what they've had with Jacoby Brissett. I think he can come in and be able to really spark this team. T.Y. Hilton, I think, will be one of the main beneficiaries, as well as Marlon Mack being the kind of receiving back he is. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be more coming down to the defense can hold offenses at bay for the Indianapolis to be able to march up and down the field offensively. So if the defense can hold in, I think the Colts will find success because that offense is going to make noise. But on the flip side, you have Minshew Mania now fully taken over in Jacksonville. But this is now going to be during a rebuilding period, having shipped out Nick Foles, let a lot of their players walk, get traded. Jalen Ramsey comes to mind. So it's very interesting to see the Jaguars really dumping a lot of their roster, trying to set up for the future, have acquired a number of draft picks. And I don't think Minshew Mania will be the solution. I think it's the stopgap, but I think it's a really good stopgap because Minshew is able to really help guys elevate their play. He's a very emotional guy, puts his heart and his all in everything that he does with football. So going to be very interesting to see exactly what does happen in Jacksonville. Could be one of those true underdog stories that could happen, but it's not going to happen this weekend. Colts are definitely going to win this game, and I think they will also cover. In our last 1 o'clock game, though, we have the Cleveland Browns traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Ravens favored by 7.5. And remember how great of a regular season the Ravens had last year, but how dismal it was once they entered playoffs, taking a very early playoff exit. MVP Lamar Jackson looking to get back on track. He even made the cover of Madden 21. So he is very motivated and really wants to try and prove himself and show that it was no fluke what happened last season. But to have to do it against a Browns team really playing with a chip on their shoulder, thought they should have been a lot better than they could have been last year, and were not able to live up to it. Ended up losing players down the stretch like Myles Garrett because of the helmet incident and just a lot of distractions and things going on. If Baker Mayfield, though, can get refocused, you have weapons all over the field. This offense should honestly be a top 5 offense in the league. And the defense is nasty as well, and they were able to re-sign Myles Garrett to an extension. This team has a lot of potential. They just have to follow through and buy into the system. So if they do that, they might be able to have some chance. And with the Browns and Ravens, it's hard to call. They split last year, and it was laughable both ways, in my opinion. So really, this one could go either way. I'm going to go with the home team here, though. Ravens being at home. Not that they're going to have any of a crowd, but being in familiar territory, I think the Ravens win, but will not cover. I think the Browns will go there. So in our 405 game, we have the Chargers taking on the Bengals in Cincinnati. Chargers favored by 3. Tyrod Taylor being named the starter for the Chargers even after the Chargers drafted the Oregon product. I cannot remember his name off for the life of me right now. But definitely going to be an interesting dynamic going from Phillip Rivers to Tyrod Taylor. It's going to be very, very crazy. So I don't know how effective this offense is going to be with Tyrod Taylor, but he does have a lot better receivers than the last time he started in the league. now that he also has Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and a lot of guys. So it's gonna be an interesting dynamic. I'm sure this offense will change to some extent to try and fit the playing style of Tyrod Taylor. But definitely do not be surprised if you see, Justin Herbert, that's his name. Justin Herbert come in and maybe get some playing time if Tyrod Taylor is not able to play up to expectations. So we could see that. But on the flip side, Cincinnati Bengals striking gold, getting Joe Burrow, who had utterly the most dominant and amazing season by a quarterback in college football history when he led LSU to a 15-0 record and the national championship and a Heisman Trophy. He'll be making his pro debut for the Cincinnati Bengals after they shipped out Andy Dalton. And now Andy Dalton's playing in Dallas as the backup to Dak Prescott. But Joe Burrow is a great, great talent. Now he has A.J. Green to throw to, among many other notable receivers like Boyd. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic. They also were able to re-sign the running back Joe Mixon. But we'll see how it works out. Not a lot of practice time, not a lot of training camp time this year because of the pandemic. So I'm interested to see how Joe Burrow is going to come in and how he's going to respond to that, to the adversity, not having a normal type of prep that you would normally have as a professional athlete and having to work around all these mandates, all these policies, the masks and everything to be able to come in and be the leader of this team, be the quarterback of this team. Because they do have talented receivers. This team honestly does have a high ceiling, but they're never able to get it going. So with Joe Burrow, they might be able to do it. But they got to keep him upright as well. So we'll see how that works out. Our 425 game, I guess I should give an official pick, shouldn't I? This is going to be my upset pick, though. Chargers lose this game to the Bengals. It's going to be a great win. Bucks at Saints for the 425 game. Saints favored by 3.5. This is the one everybody is talking about. This is the one where Tom Brady finally makes his debut for another team in the pros, finally leaving the New England Patriots and now joining the Tampa Bay Bucks, was able to even get Rob Gronkowski to come out of retirement and join the team. We've seen notable players trying to flock to Tampa to play with Tom Brady to possibly win a Super Bowl ring. Because look at the offense. It's loaded. You have Mike Evans. You have Chris Godwin. You have O.J. Howard. You have Rob Gronkowski. And look at the backfield. You have LaShawn McCoy. Now Leonard Fournette on top of Peyton Barber. This offense is stacked. Plus they have a really good offensive line. And then add in Tom Brady. So it's going to be amazing to see what this offense can do. But a lot of people are drawing parallels to when the Eagles ended up with Vince Young and Mike Vick and Deshaun Jackson and all these players, as well as LaShawn McCoy. And, Dream Team, that was not a good year. So some are making those comparisons, saying you get all this talent, doesn't mean it's going to come together. However, I feel Bruce Arians will have a much better plan in place, especially with Tom Brady having the type of influence that he has to be able to dictate some of this offense. Let's be honest, Tom Brady won a bunch of rings with a bunch of no-name receivers. Now he actually has some ponies in the stable. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that works out. You know, I think Tom Brady's going to be out there and just be like, oh, I don't think it even worked. Well, you got a soundboard. You can't even use it. But it's going to be interesting to see how Tom Brady comes down and is able to sling that football, because I think it's going to be great. And I think he's going to have a lot of success. However, you still have Drew Brees on the flip side with that good defense. You still have Alvin Kamara, who I did pick up in fantasy. Don't know how I got him with the 8th pick, but hey, it worked out. But Alvin Kamara now signing his big extension, and that's out of the way. The Saints have no more distractions. They have the running back. It's just going to be, can the ageless wonder known as Drew Brees still keep it going? He only has maybe this season and another season left. Guy is running on E. Not to say that he's playing bad, because he's not. Once you get up there, man, it's hard to keep it going. But in this game, officially, I'm going to go ahead and take the Bucks to win this game. Saints are favored by 3.5, but the Bucks will win this. And I think they might win it handily, because I think that offense is going to explode. In our next game, though, 425, you have the Arizona Cardinals traveling to the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers are favored by 7. However, they do have one of their top receivers on the shelf for this game. But this will be also their first game since losing the Super Bowl to the Kansas City Chiefs. And then it doesn't help that you have to worry about DeAndre Hopkins, who's also making his debut for the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray at quarterback. So now you got Larry Fitz on one side, DeAndre Hopkins on the other. Oh, yeah, and Kenyon Drake in the backfield. So This is going to be a lot for the 49ers to handle. However, I think the 49ers are more than talented and up to the task. I think the 49ers win this, but I don't think they cover. I think the Cardinals are going to surprise people. 8:20 game. That's right, our Sunday night game tonight. We have the Dallas Cowboys, favored by 2, traveling to LA to take on the Rams. Now, this will be the head coaching debut of Mike McCarthy with the Dallas Cowboys. And let's not forget, he's also dealing with his quarterback playing under a franchise tag in Dak Prescott. And the Rams, though, are not going to, I guess, make it hard. I was going to say easy. But they have had a lot of issues shipping out a lot of players. They did get Jalen Ramsey re-signed, but they kind of went through a little bit of a change defensively, offensively, and now they have new uniforms, which are kind of meh at best. Why the weird uniform or the weird numbers? I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys out there can tell me. I really don't know. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this game will work out. Cowboys are favored, but Rams, I think, will definitely keep this close. But the Cowboys, sadly, I think, will win this game. But I think it'll be very, very close. I don't know if they'll cover. It could be a 1-point game, but we'll definitely see how it works out. But, God, I can't believe I just picked the Cowboys to win a game. Somebody slap me. But our Monday night games, we have the Steelers traveling to New York to take on the Giants in the new Meadowlands. Steelers are favored by 6. This is the return of Ben Roethlisberger. Big Ben back in the Steel City. Going up against the Giants, who are looking to make progress with their new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. And we were just talking about the Cowboys, offensive coordinator Jason Garrett of the Giants. Oops. So you can see how he's fallen on hard times. But I think that the Steelers definitely will be able to take this game. They still have a lot of talent with Cook in the backfield and some new ponies that they have in their wide receiver core. Excuse me, along with a pretty good defense. So I think it'll be a really great game. Steelers definitely will take this one, and I think they more than will cover in this. I got them favored by 10 in my eyes, but they say 6. Whatever. Night game, or the late game, I should say, we have the Tennessee Titans taking on the Denver Broncos in the Mile High City. Titans are favored by 3. This will be the debut of Melvin Gordon for the Denver Broncos, looking to retool, I should say, their running back core, bringing in Melvin Gordon, which still having Phillip Lindsay as well, so 2-headed beast there. But the Titans are still the same old team they are after giving Derrick Henry his extension. You still also have their quarterback, and why can't I remember his name right now? But they also did sign Jadeveon Clowney to a 1-year deal. So that's, I think, going to be a really big impact for that defense, which was looking pretty good already. Ryan Tannehill, though, at quarterback. So I think this will be probably the better of the 2 Monday night games. It'll be very exciting. This one is going to be very back and forth. I think the Titans will take this one, but I think it might be closer than 3 points. So we'll definitely see how that works out. And definitely make sure to check back next week. We're going to try and keep track of some of these picks and see if how we do this season. It's going to be a very interesting year. I know dealing with this pandemic has not been easy whatsoever, but I swear we will get through it together, and hopefully we can be able to have a nice and full season. But you can also make sure to keep up with Final Score on all of our content platforms. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. So search keyword Final Score, one word, and make sure to check us out there. All of our great content. We're now going to be, after today, 72 episodes deep and fast approaching that 100, man. I feel like it's right there. It's going to be crazy. Almost 2 years of doing this show. But definitely make sure to check us out and give us a follow. But now we're going to give you a little bit of update with college football week 2. A lot of the big action now with the big conferences coming through. And we definitely saw some exciting games actually go down, whether it would have been Notre Dame and Duke, which Notre Dame does win by 2 touchdowns, 27-13, so I'm not going to complain about that any way, shape, or form. Clemson also looking pretty strong offensively, winning 37-13 over Wake Forest on the road. Oklahoma going up 48-0 on Missouri State. And Texas looking amazing. Number 14 Texas beating UTEP at home 59-3. But the one that a lot of people were watching was North Carolina at home against Syracuse. North Carolina was only leading 10-6 coming out of the third quarter, and then exploded in the fourth quarter to win this one 31-6. North Carolina with Mac Brown trying to show that they belong, but it's been very interesting to see the progression. It's so cardiac Tar Heels that they are. Don't know what you're really going to get from North Carolina this season, but they are picked third picked to finish third. Let me English today in the ACC. So we'll see how that works out for them. But hey, they get this win here, are now 1-0 on the season and 1-0 in the ACC. But Louisiana, I think, came up bigger than anybody this weekend, getting only their second AP top 25 win against number 23 Iowa State on the road. The first win against an AP top 25 opponent on the road, winning 31-14 against the Cyclones. The Raging Cajuns came in and were fueled by two huge return touchdowns, and funny enough, with a new special teams coach. So it's very great to see what they were able to do. Sun Belt coming up big today with this one, and hats off to the Raging Cajuns for getting that win. And Iowa State reeling, now losing to Louisiana. The last game before that, they lost to, funny enough, Notre Dame in their bowl game. Not quite looking like the team they should. So it's definitely going to fall out of the rankings after that one. But we also had some other big games happen. Kansas State getting upset by Arkansas State 35-31 with 38 seconds left after Arkansas State was able to score the go-ahead touchdown. Arkansas State came up huge in this one, currently 1-1 on the season. Kansas State now starting out 0-1 to start their campaign. But we also saw Georgia Tech against Florida State. Georgia Tech coming up big against FSU, winning 16-13 late, scoring, having a 9-point fourth quarter while blanking Florida State in that quarter to be able to pull that one out. FSU fans, I know, are crying right now all over. I'm sorry, guys. You just need to accept that FSU is not that good anymore. Maybe one day you guys will get good again. I mean, hey, I know what it's like. I'm a Notre Dame fan. So speaking of Notre Dame, their opponent next week, South Florida, was able to get the win against the Citadel 27-6, starting out 1-0 themselves. Louisville having a huge game against Western Kentucky, winning 35-21. A lot of big games. And then, of course, Kansas finishing that Sun Belt sweep. Kansas losing to Coastal Carolina 2 years in a row now. Coastal Carolina taking it 38-23. Huge win for Coastal Carolina. Definitely going to be crazy. Kansas and Les Miles need to get things going if they don't want to become the laughingstock of college football. So real crazy. A lot of great games that are going to be happening next week, but a lot of uncertainty still right now in college football across a myriad of different reasonings, whether it be with the Pac-12 and Big Ten, which we'll touch on a little bit later. A lot of worry right now in the ACC with Virginia having positive tests and having to cancel their game against Virginia Tech. And the ACC coming out and saying that they have to have at least 8 teams to be able to carry on the season. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it works out. But for right now, we can at least enjoy the fact that college football is back and we have games. So really great stuff. Really great stuff. But you know what else is really great is Podcast City Network. Definitely make sure to check out Podcast City Network on all of their platforms and now on Instagram. You can check them out on Instagram at Podcast City Net. Go on there and give us a follow and check out everything we got. I think we got a few photos up there, including one of this mug. So definitely go on there and check it out. But you can also check us out on Twitter at Podcast City Net, on Facebook at /Podcast City Network, on YouTube by searching Podcast City Network, and on Twitch by searching Podcast City Network. So definitely check us out. Give us a like, give us a follow, and check out all the great stuff that we have going on. And you can also join Podcast City Network if you're looking to get your podcast onto a great network or looking to start your own. You can join Podcast City Network because they offer an array of membership services, including logo design and branding, social media advertising, live podcast hosting, and much, much more. You also gain access to our network of shows to help with cross-promotion, guests, and overall reach, while also becoming a part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. And the best part is no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Go to podcastcity.net/join now and join the fastest growing independent podcast network around, Podcast City Network. So yeah, definitely a lot of great stuff going on there. And if you are interested, just go over to that link, check us out, and we would definitely love to have you and hear what you got going on. So definitely go check it out. But right now we're going to switch over to the good old give or go. And this is going to be a little harder because I do have to kind of basically throw these to myself. I'll try not to look crazy while doing it, but we'll see how it works out. So in our first one, is Giannis to blame for the Bucks 4-1 series loss to the Miami Heat? Give or go? Oh, Chris, well, I'd have to say that Giannis is part of the blame, but I also blame the actual franchise for not putting enough good players around him. I know he plays in a small market, but damn it, you have to make it happen somehow. Well, Chris, that's a very interesting look on that, and we'll definitely see how that works out for them. But until they do that, all they have to rely on is Giannis. So Giannis or bust, I guess, in Milwaukee. You know, it sounds like you sound a lot like what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I'm sounding crazy. But either way, though, Giannis, definitely not fully to blame for this, but it's definitely interesting to see how much they try to put on Giannis, especially when you get in the playoff time. Nobody wants to deal with Giannis during the season. He is a force to be reckoned with. But come playoff time, everybody's playing their hardest. So it becomes a lot easier to isolate and put Giannis off his game. He did not play well, especially in some of the last games where he was scoring only 9 points second half. Like, it was ridiculous to see how Giannis was playing, and it's because there's nothing around him. It ends up being put all on his back, and you can see with how he plays how much it is on his back. So it's not on Giannis. I blame the organization but also Miami. Nothing against Miami. Miami's a great team. Jimmy Butler and that whole organization being able to come together and really show that they are not underdogs, that they are truly a team that you need to watch out for. So definitely don't overlook Miami in these playoffs. But still, the Bucks being the number 1 seed 2 years in a row to go down like this is just horrible. But next topic, the Big Ten is set to try and do a revote on when to start the football season that could take place as soon as today. That's right. The Big Ten is possibly looking, they're possibly looking to try and get their season restarted, looking at a possible mid to late October start. But we'll definitely have to see how it works out because it is not put 100% in stone that the vote will actually take place today. The big hangups for the Big Ten were things like rapid testing, being able to have protocols in place to be able to deal with it, enough information that they said that their medical staff did not have to be able to make an informed decision on whether or not to have the season. And because of that, they decided not to have the season a day after a lot of people had announced their schedules and what their plans were. And they decided, you know what, we're not doing it. Then the Pac-12 followed suit. So the Big Ten, though, said that the counselor, presidents, and chancellors are going to meet Sunday to review the latest medical info and possibly vote again on when fall football season could begin. And now sources to ESPN. This medical subcommittee of the Big Ten's return to competition task force met Saturday, though, with a smaller group of 8 presidents and chancellors who pushed the process forward for a possible revote as early as today. So been a lot of things happening behind the scenes, a lot of things that are being pushed through to try and get this to happen. But the things will... As things progress, though, we will try to bring you more information. We feel that there could be something breaking as early as today, which we'll definitely let you know as soon as we can. Just make sure to keep following us at PCN Final Score on social media, and we'll try to get those to you because this is going to be a very big thing. Because then if the Big Ten comes back, Pac-12's already looking like they might try to come back, even though they haven't had any kind of rumblings of an official vote yet. They have already contracted with a company to be able to do rapid same-day testing, which would be huge for their return given the impact the West Coast took. So we'll definitely see, and we'll definitely bring you more. So definitely keep your eyes and ears open at PCN Final Score, and we'll try to update you on that as soon as it happens. But our next Give or Go topic, the MLB's postseason bubble plan awaits union approval. MLB already has the plan in place, give or go, and we're going to give on it a little bit because the MLB was one of the only sports not to bubble and had horrific, catastrophic reaction to it as many teams ended up falling ill, starting namely with the Miami Marlins and the Philadelphia Phillies and then the Washington Nationals, as well as the St. Louis Cardinals and all kinds of stuff going on. But right now, they would hold, with the plans for the playoff bubble, they would basically isolate everybody into sub-regions, as you will. The wild card, the home parks would be used for the 1 through 4 seeds for all 3 games. And then once you got to the NLDS, it would be played at the Globe Life Field in Minute Maid Park. And then with the ALDS, it would be played at Petco Park and Dodger Stadium. Then once you advance to The ALCS, it would be played at Petco Park. NLCS would be done at Globe Life Field, and then the World Series would be held at Globe Life Field. So that would be the bubble plan for Major League Baseball. They're waiting union approval, which is expected to come through any day. And we'll see how the union will approach it. Hopefully they'll be able to pass through very quickly. We've already seen the catastrophic impact, like we said, that it's already had on Major League Baseball. Football, with the NFL's already considering doing a bubble themselves for their playoffs. So it would be very wise if Major League Baseball were to right the ship and just tell the players, hey, it's for your safety. Like, let's do this. So we'll definitely see how that works out. Major League Baseball, all kinds of tattered problems right now. But our next one, NHL decides to move up the draft to October 6th and 7th. Free agency will open October 9th. Give or go. Definitely going to give on this a little. NHL currently in the midst of their East and West finals. If you've been looking at our ticker, you can actually see the results of those. And excuse me, and the teams that we currently have with Vegas and Dallas and Tampa and New York. But NHL is not trying to sit down on this. They're still bubbled in Canada until the end of the Stanley Cup, which is expected to run possibly to the end of September, beginning of October. And then you have the draft and free agency open right there in the beginning of October. But the NHL says they are still committed to starting the 2021 season December 1st. So looking like NHL is not going to slow down. They're going to keep this train pumping, give them a little time off, and then jump right back into it. So it's definitely going to be real crazy to see all this unfold with hockey. But I think if anybody can get together, the NHL has. They've done really well with their bubble plans, with being able to keep the players safe and make sure they're doing right by the players. So it's definitely going to be very, very interesting to see how it all unfolds. But I think it'll work out very well for NHL. But that was our give or go. Definitely make sure, though, that you check us out on PodChaser. All you have to do is go to podchaser.com and search keyword Final Score, one word. And your daily source for podcast discovery, Apple Podcasts, is no longer the only credible place to rate and review podcasts. Follow creators, browse every podcast ever, and rate and review episodes all on PodChaser. And Final Score is on there along with Podcast City Network. So definitely make sure to check both out on there. Leave a follow or give us a follow, leave a rating and a review for us. Thank you guys. We really appreciate your support. But definitely go check us out on PodChaser. Sadly, though, that does bring us to the week ahead. And we do have a few things planned. Hopefully we'll be able to get the show worked out. Check out later today. Kevin Wathen will be live on the Final Score Facebook page. What for? Guess you have to find out. So definitely make sure to check back and check for the notifications. That way you can make sure you get notified when he does go live so you don't miss out, because apparently he has big announcements. So definitely make sure to check that out. And we will also be having episode 73 next weekend, next Sunday, 10 a.m. Definitely make sure to come join us here on Facebook Live and Twitch, as we will be going live for episode 73. I'm sure that Kevin will also probably have some more announcements about the rugby review when he goes live later, so definitely make sure to check out that. And, of course, you can check out our newest show on the network, Double Dime, episode 2 dropping tomorrow night. So definitely check it out for the latest on Forex and sports investing. Just search @FixedEdge on Twitter, Periscope to watch live. So definitely check them out. Episode 2. I got to sit down and do a little interview. Hopefully I'll be able to get that out here soon. Things have been so busy, but definitely be able to check that out soon. I got to sit down with S Money of Fixed Edge and got to talk to him. So definitely going to be some great stuff. But that is our episode for today. Thank you so much for joining me, I should say. It's only me today. And thank you for watching. Definitely join us next week. Follow us on social media @PCN Final Score on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. But until then, I'm Chris, and you guys have just watched Final Score. Y'all have a great night.
Podcast City Network.